Okay, I think we're live. Are we live? Can everybody see my screen? All right, I can't see anybody's comments. That's kind of an issue. But can everybody see my screen? Mike?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're just going to jump in and get started. We're a little bit late, and I apologize for that. I want to respect your time. So I wanted to welcome you first and foremost to getting your B number. This is going to be such a great, I guess, asset to your business if you don't manage your finances now in a very comfortable way. The B number makes it very simple because you're going to have a single number that you're going to hit every single month. And when you do that, guess what? You are going to pay yourself. That's the most important thing. That's what I want you to get out of this at the end of the week is I want you to be able to pay yourself a paycheck regularly every month. So here's what we're going to do this week. We're going to calculate your personal breakthrough number, your B number. Everybody has one. It's unique to their business. And even if you're in a similar business to other people, your number will look different. They all do. I want you to identify the expenses that we're going to prioritize and the order in which you're going to pay them to protect your business and then also yourself. I want you to start paying your taxes and yourself regularly. And I'm going to get into some strategy here too. And let's see if we can't help you get that B number to the right spot, the sweet spot where it needs to be for you to start feeling very successful in your business. So if you don't already have it, you can go to entremoneycoach.com and grab your companion workbook. It's sitting out there, so you can go get it if you haven't yet. But if you haven't, that's okay. Take notes for now and jump in where you are. So this is the quote, I guess, that I really love to focus on when I start doing training. And that is because I want people to know that when you're doing what you're meant to do, it's going to feel fine. It's going to feel useful. It's going to feel like play. It's going to feel wonderful. If you're not having these feelings, and I don't just mean because your business is growing and you have some pain points, but if you're not feeling like you're in your purpose or doing what you're meant to do, I do want to encourage you that it's maybe time to do something like a pivot, maybe change focus or audience. And I don't want you to feel like you're stuck. So where you are right now is where I want you to focus on your B number, but I also want you to know as we're going through the week and we're answering these tough questions, I want you to feel like, yes, I am in the right place. Yes, this is the business I should be building. All right, so let's just dive right into the B number and why you need it. The B number is the breakthrough number. It is the minimum amount that you need each and every month to keep your doors open. And it's not overhead. So I'm going to clear that up right now. We're not looking to just make our bare minimum overhead scrape by. This is actually the B number that it's going to include everything that you need to keep the doors open and keep yourself in fighting shape and everything you need to pay yourself as well with real expectations of different benchmarks so we can know where we're supposed to grow. So when we have a really great month of what we're going to do with the extra, if we have a lean month, where we're going to go ahead and make up the difference. When you consistently reach this number every single month, you basically have broken through, or you have a breakthrough into profit, because at that point, all of the necessities are taken care of. I am a Ramsey financial coach, so I work with families, and on the personal side, we call it the 4 walls. So you pay the 4 walls, or the inside of the house first before you take care of the outside. Your business should be treated the same way. I want you to pay to protect the inside of your business before you do anything else, because that's how you make your money. And if something inside is not protected, you aren't going to be in business much longer, or you won't be able to sustain what you're working through. So why do you need your B number? Because we need priorities. We need to prioritize the business staying open. That means that sometimes we have to make these tough decisions between maybe paying a loan if someone has a business loan, or paying the internet bill. If you're in e-commerce, the internet bill, that is your lifeblood. That is how you get to your clients. So that would be the priority we would set. And I'm going to walk you through that this week. At the end, you should have a clear understanding of personally what your requirements are and the priorities, so that you can very easily and just very streamlined and straightforward and simply manage your business income every month. The other thing about this number is I keep talking about your minimum. This is the number that you have to make every month. And we can talk about different strategies to get you there, but this is the number that you have to make to keep your doors open and keep yourself fed. And I want you to know that this number also helps remove frustration and reduces stress, because there's no worrying Oh, have I made enough this month? Oh, am I going to have enough this month? You know what you have to make. You know how you can get there. We'll strategize to get you to your number as fast as possible. And then everything else we can plan for. So I have a 5-step approach to business money management called IPSTA. And all it is identify, plan, secure, track, and adjust. I am working through a course that teaches this particular step-by-step process. But for now, I want you to know that finding your B number is in the identify part of the IPSTA. We're going to identify our expenses, and we're going to use those worksheets and the identification of those expenses to create our B number. So this is what we're identifying. In your business, the 4 walls I keep talking about, the protecting the inside of the family, or the inside of the business, I'm sorry, you must have access to your buyers. That's going to be your first wall. The second one is your critical operating expenses. The third wall is going to be inventory and services. And we'll talk a little bit about how you figure out the right spend. A lot of people have a lot of inventory laying around that they probably don't need to have there. It ties up their money. And then the last thing is payroll and payroll expenses, including your check. I've found working with entrepreneurs that sometimes the idea of self-employment taxes isn't very clear, that you're paying, 100% of the Medicare and the FICA. When you are employed, your employer pays half and you pay half. So there's some things around there I definitely want to educate you on to make sure that you're withholding enough and you understand where it's going and what it's for. And then the B number, why do we have to add it up and make a B number? Well, each expense needs to be individualized and each wall needs to be looked at individually. Because if you don't, you won't necessarily know where you can make adjustments later on, how you can maybe minimize certain expenses, the things that you can do to manage that B number and maybe even grow the B number a little bit, right? So we might do some growth type of investing, and we might want to look at some things like adding another line of business or maybe adding a new division. All of those things do impact the B number in different areas. And so you'll know which ones that can stay stable and which ones will have to be adjusted slightly. And then here's the other thing about the B number. If you think you're going to hire someone in the next 6 months, estimate it, put it in there. You don't have to have the same B number forever, because you won't. If you're a solopreneur, meaning you're the only one running the business, that number looks very different than if you have some employees. It looks very different if you open a different line of business. It looks very different if you go to a hybrid where you're doing e-commerce and brick and mortar at the same time. So as you're growing up into your business, this number is going to change. So please feel free to do, the number that you need now and maybe do another one for an estimate in 6 months. And then you can start to really look at those numbers and plan. You can use this for strategic planning and see when the right time is to start adding things into your business. And then the B number will be the total of all 4 walls. So we're going to dive in right now to wall 1. The first wall is the ability for you to get to your clients. This is protecting your doors staying open. And these are the expenses that are always paid first. So if you are brick and mortar, you need to pay your rent, because the landlord can come lock your doors for non-payment. And if they do that, it doesn't matter how beautiful your inventory is. It doesn't matter that you can take payments through Talent. What it matters is nobody can get in there to make sales, right? You can't let anybody in the door. So rent has to be number 1. And if you are e-commerce, internet is how you live. That's the lifeblood of your business. You want to make sure that you prioritize that internet bill. And then for the utilities, this also includes your cell phones. Why? Because this is actually what keeps you in the game and allows you to serve your customers. If you don't pay these things first, and I'm going to just very, directly, let's just go direct route. If you have, let's say, business debt or even personal debt, and you've been using your business money to pay these things, and you've been letting things like your utilities slide because there's no late fee, or your rent be just right up to the last day that you can pay it, I want you to stop. I don't care about your FICO number when we're trying to stay in business. I don't care about your DUNS number, your Duns and Bradstreet, your D&B. I don't really care about those things, and neither should you, because at this point, it is a matter of staying open and getting to your customers. So sometimes we do make decisions based on, well, if I pay the gas bill a few days late, I don't have a late fee. But that's not okay, because you need that in order to serve your clients. All right. So here's some things too. Home offices. A lot of us work from home anymore. And when we work from home, it's very easy to step back and say, well, I don't actually have any bills. I don't pay my own internet, and my cell phone's bundled with the family. But guess what? You are using those resources for your business, and your business should be paying your family, because it is using those resources, and it would ease the family budget a little bit actually if the business was paying a fee or an amount to the family every month. Now, to pay a portion of your mortgage or rent, or to pay a portion of your utilities, it's okay to figure that out, even if you can't deduct it off your taxes. And the reason I say that is you have to have dedicated office space, and the IRS has very specific things. So you want to talk to an accountant if you have any questions about whether or not you can write it off. But even if you can't, your business is making money on something or with something that the family is using. And so I do want you to get into the habit of deciding what you're going to pay every month. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be, let's say, the internet bill and the cell phone bill. And those two things then come off the family budget, and it eases a little bit that strain, if there is one, on the personal expenses. Because again, you're going to have two sets of expenses. You're going to have your business expenses that'll be covered by the B number, and then other things like your marketing or your business debt. And then you will have your personal expenses, and each one needs a separate plan. But right now, this month or this week, we're really kind of jumping into the B number. So I'm not going to go too deep into the organization of your finances. But I do want you to pick a number or calculate some number that you could be paying into your family finances to cover the office space that you're using, the gas, the electric, the cell phone, and the internet bill that's being paid for by your family. All right. So once you add up all those numbers, I want you to calculate your rent or your internet, and then your cell phone if you're e-commerce, and then your individual utilities, so your gas, your electric, and your water, let's say if you have it, or trash. And those are the numbers that are going to make up your B number. So you're going to add those all together. I can tell you, for me, my internet is $120, and I pay my cell phone bill. I give $40 for the actual cell phone line, because it is the business line, and it's $20, but then I also use data. So I have a first wall of about $160 a month that I pay. I don't currently pay anything into my home office, but I do pay for an external office, at least for the next little while. So I do have other expenses there. And again, it's all kind of rolled in, and I know what my first wall is. So if you have your first wall, please drop something in the comments. You don't have to share what the expenses are if you don't want to, but I'd like to know if you've got your first wall up there. Be very helpful if you did. So that's what the one thing we have to accomplish today. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look and see what changes you might be able to make if it's a little bit higher than you like. So I'm going to give you just a minute to go ahead and let me know you got your number. Okay. All right. So now that everybody's got their number, it looks like everybody's got their number. The next thing I want you to do is start to look at that number and see whether or not that number is high to you, or maybe even low to you. And if it's low to you, that's wonderful. But if it seems high to you, a couple of things. Can I lower my utility bills in some way? So in my physical office, I have caught myself more than one time forgetting to lower the temperature before I leave for the day. And I have actually had a little bit of a higher gas bill one month because I just didn't do it. It was my own fault. So I made myself a sticky note, and I put on there that said, turn down before leave, which basically meant turn down the thermostat before you go home. So that there cut my utility bill for my gas by about $25, if I remember correctly. And that's a lot of money. So, I did that. And then, can I co-share my building or team with another business? Or can I move after my lease is up? Now, again, this goes for maybe brick and mortar, but here's something about co-sharing your building. if you are open during the day from one point to another point, and there's a business that could utilize that space at night, it might be worth looking into. What do I mean? Well, in my office, I'm not there in the evenings after 6 or 7 on Thursdays. And sometimes people will come, and one of them does a painting program, and she'll come in and she can use the office to set up for her, 1 hour painting class or 2 hour painting class. And of course, we make all the right arrangements. We use drop cloths and we make sure everything is cleaned up, but it does offset just a little bit of my rent when she uses that, because I do charge a little bit for the use of the space. But that also allows me to make a little bit extra to keep my first wall down. Another thing is to think about switching providers for internet and phone. The horror stories about, I had this great rate and then they jumped me up after a year and they wouldn't move it back down, but all the new people got an even better deal than I did. That is so common and typical when we talk about internet providers and even cell phone providers. I think now some of them have a free phone and you get, unlimited for $35 a month or whatever. So if your contracts are up, please shop around and see if you can do just a little bit better. That way there you can actually lower your expenses. And if you're able to lock something in for, a year or two, that's even better, because when you lock it in for a year or two, guess what? You are able to predict over that length of time how much your first wall will be. Some other things about cell phones that I've noticed. I had a tablet sitting on the cell phone that was probably, the tablet was on the bill. And when we really stopped and looked at it, we didn't use it. We didn't leave the house with it. And I could use the tablet just right here on my Wi-Fi. So there was really no reason for me to pay that access fee every single month for my tablet. I never used it anywhere that would require data. Maybe there's something like that sitting out there for you. And maybe it's something that you should take a few minutes tonight and look at and see if you can't save, some money every month. If you have 2 tablets on there that never leave the house, that's $20. The other thing too is if you have an upgrade, you can go online, and I know Amazon sells unlocked phones, like an unlocked AT&T phone or unlocked Verizon phone, and that you can actually have it shipped to your house and then call them and activate the whole thing. And instead of having a monthly installment fee, you actually buy the phone outright. If that sounds super expensive, I'm going to tell you, when you do it that way and you don't buy the latest model, you can actually get a phone relatively inexpensively. Phones go down in value just like cars do. And so we don't always, need that. I think it's iPhone 11 coming out. That's a lot of money. I don't know anybody who necessarily needs to do that right now. If you want to, that's great. No judgment here. But if you're looking at a way to save your phone bill, I would definitely look at getting an unlocked phone, not in the latest model. And then finally, these bundling things. I know that I had a bundle for the longest time that when I dropped the phone, it actually only dropped at about $15. But that's okay. I wasn't using it and it wasn't something that I needed. And $15 over a year is well over $150. So I thought that that was going to be a great thing to do. So that's it about your first wall. If you have your B number, amazing. I do need you to have that by tomorrow when we get ready to start day 2. And again, there are some steps you can take to lower that B number if you need to on that first wall. And the last thing I wanted to kind of put out here is one of the reasons we're meeting this week is because I want to give you some strategies to reduce stress around money, particularly your business money. I want you to know your B number because you'll know when you made enough. Here's another thing. I want you to have some visual reminders that your spending plan is working. And I want you to have a spending plan, meaning you're going to write down everything and you're going to know where every dollar goes so it doesn't run off and spend itself. Then celebrate is the next part, to celebrate your successes when you hit your goals, whatever those goals are. It's my first sale of the month. It's, something I didn't expect, whatever it is. I want you to celebrate though, as you're moving in your progress towards your business being built into the vision that you've been given for it. All right. And then back up. We're going to talk about this a little bit on day 4, that sometimes it's important to have a little bit of a backup plan to make up that B number if necessary. And we're going to talk a little bit, but in the back of your mind right now, I want you to understand that it's okay if you do. And that just because you're a business owner for one business doesn't mean that you can't work a few places to make things either make ends meet or to save or put aside extra money for something that's your next level up. And then I want you to embrace your vision and keep it in front of you. If you don't have a vision for your business today, what you think it should look like in 6 months or maybe a year, I want you to also spend about 10 minutes. And, there's no judgment and without filters. I want you to simply go and just write down your vision. Just write, and don't edit yourself, and see what you can put together, because that's going to raise your enthusiasm also. And an enthusiastic business owner does well. So that is all for my presentation. I told you I was going to try to respect your time. I'm afraid it went 20 minutes instead of 15, but I'm here to take any questions you may have, if you have any, and I'm going to go ahead and stop share. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure what happened here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share so I can see you all. Hi. And go ahead and hit me up with any questions you may have. Going to try to okay, what is that? There we go. Okay, so 965 April, cell phone, Wi-Fi, utilities, and rent. Perfect. So now you have this number. So I think that means that you will pay all of your personal bills as well as your business bills if you make your B number. Am I right? I'm looking at my phone also because I can't see comments on here, so I apologize. All right. So tomorrow we're going to dive into the second wall, and we're going to be looking at these critical operating expenses. And when we look at these critical operating expenses, two things are going to happen. One, I want you to be brutally honest about everything you're spending now. And then second, we're going to be looking at your the ones that maybe we can do without, the ones that maybe aren't so critical, we treat them that way. So that's going to be our second wall tomorrow. Today was accessing your customer, making sure that you could serve them by keeping the doors open. And tomorrow we'll get on with the next live, 1 o'clock again, and the Tech Gremlins won't be part of us tomorrow. So take care. Have a wonderful day.